Minerva. Camel toe. So I'm really glad that we got rid of this whole chibi little thing that was going on. I'm really glad that Gray pissed this guy off to the point where he just let go of his magic of having them be in this kid mode, because I was really not liking the way it was going. I was feeling like this was some chibi Batman cartoon or something. So I'm glad that that definitely got out the way. That actually made me really happy, because I was not looking forward to like a chibi Lucy or chibi any other character going chibi. In hindsight, it does make it like kind of pointless that it happened to begin with, but I'm just glad that it's out the way. I wasn't a big fan of the way Gray was tricking this guy, because he's like kind of coming off as like, you know, this monster guy or something like that, but then he just keeps getting tricked by Gray. And I mean, that's the best way to do it, because I didn't want Gray to just start whipping his ass, but I thought it would have been more interesting if Gray and Natsu would have tag teamed him and possibly, like, you know, use little tricks, both of them together, and then kick his ass, maybe like do a little fire and ice combo while they're still in their chibi form. That would have been a little bit more interesting, instead of Gray doing these little parlor tricks, which was like a bit on the mess side. Then that Erza and Minerva scene. It surprised me a little bit the way it went, because I thought somebody was going to come to the rescue. It kind of was setting up like, oh, somebody's going to stop Minerva at the exact time, and instead it was that the magic had worn off and turned her to an adult size. So I'm glad that it wasn't that predictable, because I was like, okay, who's going to come save her? It's obvious this is the time where somebody's going to bash in and kick her face in. So that was, I guess, a little bit more unpredictable than just something like that, because I'm not a big fan of rescuing the damsel in distress at the very last second type of thing. And then the fan service. It's a hell of a lot better than the lowly shit that was going on, but god damn, Minerva got a camel toe. And the most interesting thing about this chapter, I definitely gotta say, is that we find out that Doriarte is a demon, and he's kind of like Deliora, pretty much the people from Zeref's book. So that makes things a little bit more interesting and exciting, and hopefully now that he's in this hulking form, he's gonna be a true threat, because he obviously wasn't when he's getting tricked by freaking 5-year-old Gray. So that was definitely interesting, and we also got a little bit more progression, getting rid of this stupid chibi stuff. I hope it doesn't appear again, because I just wasn't a fan of it at all. And also Erza getting a couple kicks into the face of Minerva. And I actually found some of the jokes kind of funny in this one. I'm hoping now that this Doriarte guy has revealed that he's a big demon and he's like kind of from Zeref's book, that we'll get a little bit more into the whole Tartarus thing, because that's one of the big interesting things about this particular arc, is that, you know, we're dealing more towards getting into another dark guild, one of the biggest ones. And since this is from the Succubus guild, they're a different dark guild, they're not Tartarus or whatnot. But in the last chapter, how he's pretty much saying about the gates and whatnot, I'm betting that he is a big hint to where we're going to go and what's the ultimate threat, because we also find out in this chapter that he wasn't responsible for turning everything into ice, which I didn't think that as well. I mean, it just didn't make sense. So it also raises the question, who did it and why did they do this? Because to me, it doesn't seem like the Succubus Guild actually even turned everything into ice. Maybe just like the Treasure Hunter Guild, they just got here and it was like that already. So that also raises that there might be an actual third threat on this particular island. Overall, there was some mad moments in it, but I definitely say that it was good progression, definitely getting rid of the chibi stuff again. I know I keep harping on that, but I was just really not a fan of that. So we got rid of that, and we also got that this monster, Doriarte, is turning into his demon form. So we're going to get a bit more action and some more interesting stuff, hopefully, to go with that as well. And maybe some cool battles to boot. So I'm giving this one a 7 out of 10. It was a good chapter. Some stuff I didn't really care for in the beginning, like the whole thing with Gray tricking this guy. But in the beginning, I guess it's just like he's the buffoon that turns into this hulking monster. So it kind of makes sense, like Jekyll and Hyde type of thing or whatever. So in hindsight, it does make sense in that aspect. But still, it's just like he started off like, oh, I'm this beastly guy and bitches ain't nothing. And then kind of just looked like an idiot. But then he's redeeming himself again, hopefully. And now getting rid of these guys and seeing that they're not actually the big threats. There's a lot bigger people out there, you know, bigger fish to fry, so to speak, definitely makes things a little bit more exciting and interesting. But let me know what you think. First of all, who turned everything into ice? If it wasn't these two, it wasn't Minerva and Doriarte or whatever the hell his name is, then who did it? Is it somebody part of the Succubus Guild? A third party on this island that they don't know about? What did you think about the camel toe? I'm just playing with that last one. And this Doriarte guy, do you think he possibly has some sort of connection to Zeref? Because he is one of the demons from Zeref's book, so to speak. So it really makes you think maybe it's possible Zeref has some sort of influence on this. It's possible maybe even Zeref is on the island. But that's all I have for this review. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Thumbs up if you can't wait to see some ass kicking, because now we have a big ass demon. And if you remember correctly with Deliora, it was hard to take him down. Acologia was a godlike, so maybe this guy might have some big shit to him. We just gotta wait and see. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day.